I can briefly say something more.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to start our meeting. We have a lot of business to attend to, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll start off this morning. Councilor Turner is going to offer our invocation. After the invocation, we will stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to come together and work together. We ask for your inspiration and insights. We ask for your direction and guidance. And we ask for your peace and harmony. We may accomplish great things this day, and we may display an attitude of cooperation and respect. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Bruce. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bruce. That is a good invitation. All right, our first order of business is to approve the minutes from March 29th, our workshop and our council meeting. I hope you all had a chance to review them, and I will need a motion to approve these minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Dan, and a second from Jim. Any discussion? All in favor of approving these minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, the minutes are approved as presented. Our next item is to adopt the agenda that we have. The motion to adopt.
So moved.
Thank you, Jim. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Dan. Discussion? All in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, the agenda is done deal. All right, mayoral comments. Thank goodness, our weather has changed a little bit more to where it's not 28 degrees anymore. I also want to take a time to thank all the people who serve on our citizen committees. We couldn't do our work without you all. We appreciate your time, your experience, your ideas, your knowledge. And we see this as a great gift to the city, and I thank you for all of us. Any remarks from the council at this point? Okay, city manager report. Jason, if you will, please present your city manager report at this time.
Madam Mayor, Council, those in attendance, those on Zoom, good morning. Been a busy month, I have a lot to cover, but I'll be as brief yet as still as I can. We are in the process of updating our EPD water withdrawal permit that has to be done every 5 years. It was last due in 2019. Cody English and I, our water coordinator, are working on that. We hope to have that submitted in the next couple of weeks. Groundwater Resources is wrapping up its study and recommendation. This is the company that we picked for the proposed new well site. There are a couple of locations they have found. We expect those recommendations to come forward. These are city-owned properties. This would be what we would call well 9. As you know, if you look around, the city's growing. The need for extra water capacity is there. Once we get that recommendation, we will be working with our water engineers. And we're thinking this is about an 18 to 24 month process, from permitting to construction, hopefully having the water flowing. We recently received a GDOT LMIG supplemental grant for approximately $47,000 to go towards road maintenance. This is separate from our other LMIG money that we receive every year through application. The LMIG we receive every year has a 30% match. The supplemental money does not require a match, which is great. And I want to give just a really quickly well-deserved thank you to GDOT. They've been very generous over the years in grants. We've been very aggressive about getting these grants. But I was running some math in the past 3 years, or at least since I've been here, we have received approximately $300,000 in GDOT, LMIG Triple E, and LMIG supplemental funding. Again, these dollars go a long way to helping repave roads, replace culverts, and we're not having to impact the general fund or our T-Splosh dollars. So, again, thank you for that. And we're doing paving this week as we speak. We're repaving Appalachian Point, Buttons, and La Quinta on Winding Ridge. Those roads need some love, and so we're planning to use that money for that. And there's other paving that's gonna be going on, to include, we plan to look at Ridge Road this year. That bid process ends this Friday, sealed bid process, and we hope to get some competitive bids for that and move that forward. The contractor who we went with to build the third pickleball court, and they're finished. They are locked up right now. They need time to cure, but if you've had a chance to ride by those courts, they look great. We do have a little bit of landscaping and some stuff we're gonna do around it. But, we're proud of that, and I'm pleased to say that it came in earlier than we thought. We were thinking they were gonna be done in May. They're done earlier, so all of our seasonal folks that come in, and it came in the budget, so that's a good thing too. So, I'm also pleased to report that the govdeals.com auction is underway. We have several lots that the city owns. At present, I think we have 3 of the 7 lots. There's been bids made. That ends the end of this month. So if you're familiar with eBay, probably it's not gonna be a lot of activity the last day or two. There's a lot. We hope to have some success with that and get these lots back on the tax rolls. Also, speaking of city-owned lots, a few months ago, we did a sealed bid process, but we're going with Gov Deals now, but we did a sealed bid process many months ago, and, I'm pleased to say that we finally closed on 3 of the 6 lots that are up on Wildberg. We had some little issues we had to work out with the person who bid, but we closed that, to the tune of $81,000. So anytime we can add that kind of money to the general fund, that's a great thing, and get those lots back on the tax roll. We've already begun the process of planning the annual Independence Day, which will be Friday, July 5th of this year. We've already got our deposit down for our pyro people for the fireworks. We've already got our porta potties and washing stations reserved. Planning's underway, and we expect it to be bigger and bigger. Last week I sent you all a snapshot of the city financials. Right now, we should be around 31% of expenditures. With the general fund, we're about 35, a little over. However, some of that is skewed by some big expenditures that hit early. Workers' comp. On the water and the trash, we're at 30 and 29%, so we're actually overperforming a little bit on our expenditures. On the revenue side, we're about 80% of the general fund, so we're actually taxes are around, we've taken in about 90% of our taxes this year, which is good. Few scrappers here and there. And then on the revenue side, the water and trash, we're on track. In regards to short-term rentals, we have approximately 77 that are compliant. We are aggressively taking action against those that are not in compliance. We issued, I think, 20-something tickets. Some of these people that are citations, some have come in, some have told us they're no longer doing short-term rentals, and then some have a date to see the judge in 2 weeks. So, just want to tell people that, we certainly encourage you to come in and get compliant as you can, as you will. And then finally, I just want to say with springtime being here, now's a good time to check your smoke detector batteries, and, or have batteries in stock, maybe check to see if your fire extinguisher is charged. In addition, if you haven't done so recently, Jim, I'm gonna touch on this for a second. If you don't have a 911 numerical sign, or if it's covered in vegetation, to get out there and clean it up so you can see it, replace it. We have the county can provide you with signs at a nominal fee on a tropical raise, and others can do that. Public service, first responders, if they can't see your address, know where you're at, that delays them getting there. It needs to be a conspicuous location. And I want to also add that if you have loops or rotten boards and or steps that need some love, please do that, because if a first responder comes to your house, they fall through your deck, they fall through a board, and they injure themselves, that's gonna slow down response. And if you think you need to do that, you can certainly reach out to Mr. Posner, who will walk you through any kind of permitting that you may need for that. And then finally, I just want to say that, being a mountain water system, if you have not checked your pressure reducing valve in quite some time, or do not know if you even have a pressure reducing valve, we strongly encourage folks to get those, because we can't have higher pressures being, again, a mountain system. And those go a long way to helping protect your plumbing, but
Where are they typically located? Is there a certain place you would find them, or are they all over?
A lot of the times they're right before the hot water heater. Right as your main line comes into your house, that's normal.
and most of them can go up to 300 PSI, and again, they're just, our ordinance strongly recommends that people do it, because our responsibility ends at the water meter. But again, it's just never a good thing. It's always a good thing from time to time, just to remind people about that. Springtime, as the weather gets better and you start looking at projects around the house, this is just a friendly reminder. And that will conclude my report, Madam Mayor. Council, any questions?
Comments, questions from the council? Go ahead, Dick.
On the subject of the pressure reducing valves, I mean, I would think we've got a building inspector, we've got ordinances. Why do we not simply require that everyone have a pressure reducing valve that's gonna make life easier?
That's a good question. I would say that, maybe not everybody needs them, number one. Number two, because our responsibility ends at the meter, it's really kind of a choice that the homeowner makes. Certainly, if we ever wanted to amend our ordinance, we could make that as a requirement, but right now it's just strongly recommended.
Jim, is that not in your building code?
No,
It's not.
no, and I'll take it a step further. You don't have anything in the building code that requires you to have a surge protector on your electrical system either. It's a good idea.
Or a lightning rod, or?
Yeah, there's common sense ideas that probably should be implemented, but the city can't necessarily require them,
What do you mean can't necessarily require?
or shouldn't necessarily. There's the guy that could really answer that.
Does fall under the
you know-
general welfare rule? I mean,
At some point, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. If they have the choice to do it, and if they want to, they can. Our responsibility ends, where it ends, and after that is up to the homeowner. So,
well, my take on it is that if a water line breaks and the house gets soaked, the house could be damaged for some time. And if that leads to, the house deteriorating over time, or the house being sold to people that can't afford to maintain it, then we have a potential blight problem. It's I know it may be a little far-fetched, but all of our codes protect people from themselves.
Again, this was just more of an FYI from time to time.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
I appreciate
we do have people who have plumbing issues. A lot of times they don't even realize they don't have a pressure reducing valve.
Yeah.
And then when they get the big plumbing bill, I want to try to open a can of worms. We just want to kind of educate folks that, and they're not too terribly expensive. I mean, particularly in comparison to a big plumbing expense after the fact. But again, the springtime approaches. I know I got a honeydew list at my house I'm starting to work on. I mean, you look at these things, it's just, this is a good time to be looking at those things that you may not always think about. So that's really that's the takeaway I want to make.
It's just a matter of where you draw the line.
Yeah.
Cody, how does the homeowner check to see if their valve is working properly?
Well, we can come out and check the pressure at the meters, you
Okay.
know? And once we check the pressure and reiterate to the homeowner what the pressure is, then, you know, if we have 150 PSI at the meter and their house is not blowed up by now, then it's working. It's sort of a sealed unit.
Yeah.
And pretty much unless you take it apart, you're not gonna see the inside of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
so if it's not blowed up, we're okay?
That's a technical term.
That's it.
A meter, pressure,
a pressure gauge.
and put it on your hot water heater where the little spout comes out the drain. You just put the meter on, they got it at Home Depot, and you just screw it on there.
Yeah.
And you open the valve and it'll tell you exactly what your inside pressure is.
Yes, sir.
And that way it's easy, it's less than $20 and you can find out yourself.
So what does the pressure need to be?
About 35 or 40 PSI.
Okay. Maybe we can have a little video on our website or something that talks about this.
Man, it's like,
With Cody on
it's
it or
like
something.
we've talked about before, it's all, you know, buyer beware. You know, if you buy a 20-year-old house, change it, you know, go ahead and change it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna cost you a couple $100 to get a plumber out, change it. And that's gonna, you know, give you a little bit of security if we shoot high pressure or like Jason said, we live in the mountains, we've got 250 PSI at the bottom of the hill in the valley.
Yeah.
You know, so if something goes wrong on our end, the homeowners wanna have some security, you know, on their end.
But it's part of the nature of a mountain system.
Right,
You've got
yeah.
water stored up at the top of the mountain.
By the time it gets to the bottom, that's a lot. It just gives everybody a little sense of security, and it's gonna save you a ton of money if something, you know, goes wrong on our end. All of this stuff we have is man-made, it's gonna go bad eventually. We have to do the maintenance on it to make sure that it don't, but stuff happens, you know?
Thank you, Cody. What is the average life of one? Do we have an average life of one of these?
10 years, if somebody hasn't touched their pressure reducing valve in 10 years,
Might be a good idea.
Probably would
I would go ahead and change it.
prudent
I
to
mean,
change
that's an average. You
Yeah.
know, you might get parts nowadays, you know, stuff's made cheaper than it used to be. It might last 2 years. It might last 10 days. You never know.
Okay, any questions or comments from, yes, sir, would you rise, give your name and address, please?
Ken Sigler, 911. If you live in an area, if you look at the fire hydrants in the city of Sky Valley, some of the fire hydrants, the large connection, fire department connection on the front is called the steamer cap. If that is painted silver, okay, you have over 100 PSI in that neighborhood.
Oh,
Okay, so it give you a bit of an indication of what your pressure can be in that neighborhood. You notice as you drive around, a lot of the hydrants in the lower locations have silver ones, but the ones up on a higher or mid-level, they're not silver, okay? Those are less than 100 pounds. Now, it could be 99, but our break off, you know, that is a warning to our engineers on the fire trucks that you have at least 100 PSI with static pressure in that line. Okay, that's a good indicator that you definitely need a pressure reducing valve inside your house.
thank you, Ken. Could you, send us the delineation of what the colors mean on the,
I can.
and we will put that as part of the information.
It's not gonna mean anything to y'all. It's just, I'll be more than happy to do it.
Yeah, but silver, we have to pay attention to.
Silver, you gotta pay attention as a homeowner, yes.
Yeah, okay. And what's the next color down?
There's the name. It's either silver or it's not, but the top cap is for us, of how many gallons
Silver.
a minute we can get.
Oh, so the other colors mean something else.
Yes, totally different, not any, it's strictly fire protection.
Okay. Well, if you'll just kind of give us a little blip on that, we'll put it on the website. Anybody else wish to speak on this important matter? Thank you, Cody. Jason, if you'll introduce your department heads at this time to give their reports.
Cody, I know, my understanding, Jerry's on the weather, Cody's gonna briefly talk about what's going on in the Board of Public Works, and Jim Harvey will be next.
Morning, just to start off, our public works staff is back to full. We've got, Ricky McKay, he is back with us after an extensive injury, but, he's doing well. As Jason said, the road paving, they're actively up there right now, bringing in asphalt to Buttons Lane, Appalachian Point and La Quinta. They'll be working on that the rest of the week, and if they can't get done, it'll be into next week. The crew, replaced the culvert right there on Ridgeville. I'm sure most of you've seen it by now. That went really well. We ended up getting it done in a day. We were thinking at least a couple days. But, next we've been redefining ditches, outreach pole all throughout the city. We've been doing that just about all winter long as we can, weather permitting. Leaf removal, that's fixing to be wrapped up. You know, we'll probably do some more into May. But after that, that'll be about wrapping that up. Weekly work orders or daily work orders, we really appreciate people calling them in. It gives us a little sense of, people's looking around, you know, they see stuff, so, we work those in, you know, as we can, and we enjoy that. On the water side, we have installed a new water line on Forest Court. We had a lot of trouble with that line. I think we've spoken about it before, but we had ended up fixing that line about 7 or 8 times in the last couple of years. So, we put a new service line down through there and new lines out to the meters. And,
You recently paid for us as well.
yes, we did, repave Forest Court. The lead service line project, one of our employees, John, Roberts, he's going around. If you see him around, don't be alarmed. He's wearing a bright orange vest. He's sort of, you know, got a beard, but he's one of us.
He has an ID, yes, is he working?
Yeah, he's wearing his ID.
Yeah.
He may need to step inside your house. We're trying not to do that as much as we can. What we're after is, we need to know what kind of, line is run to your house, along with what our service line is. This is something that the EPD has put out there, and we are having to complete that by October.
This is part of the mapping.
No, this is separate from the mapping, and that was my next subject, was the mapping. We're,
Now, he's looking for, we've been told to look, by the EPT, to look for cast iron pipes or lead pipes.
Lead
Pipes,
pipes, yes.
lead pipes, and we have to do a report for them. Jim, is what this is about.
Yes.
I see.
Okay.
I think, Madam, if the house was a 1990 Cody, 1990 newer, that's really not an issue, but
Yeah,
it's just. the-
Sky Valley, there was a lot of houses built before the time of lead paint.
Yeah.
So that's what we're after. We're after the old houses. You know, if it was built in the 90s till now, we don't have to worry about it. But, we have, I'd say there's probably 300 houses in here that was built before the lead ban.
What happens after that, do we know?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm not real sure that the EPD knows what the next step is.
Only
You
the
know,
EPD knows.
I haven't heard, you know, what the next step is, or if
Okay.
there's any funding for fixing the lines, or I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
But I'll definitely. you know,
Cody, are these lines coming from the meter to the house, or are they
We-
just
we
strictly
have-
within the house?
We have to identify both. We have to identify what's on our side of the meter and what's on the homeowner side of the meter.
Okay.
there was a big stink about it whenever it first came out, cause all the cities and everything was like, we didn't stop at the meter, there's nothing we can do after the meter, man. So, here we are,
Here we are,
here we are.
okay.
So you may have to get into the lower part of the house where the
Yeah,
water would come in. to see.
So the way John's doing it, he'll knock on your door and he'll explain everything. If he can just take a quick picture of where your hot water heater is, most of the time your main line comes in right by the hot water heater. And he'll just snap a picture of that and submit it to the program that we got, and he's gone. You know, a matter of 5 minutes. By the time he gets there, explains and takes a picture and gone. That's just gonna save us from going out and digging up your yard, or digging up by the meter, and figuring out, you know, what's there. So that's the, plan for that.
Do we have that on the website, Sharon?
No, not that I'm aware of,
Okay,
but I'll get it added.
oh, great.
I think we posted something.
We posted that it was gonna
The
be
notice,
happening.
we
but
posted the
didn't-
notice,
I didn't
yeah.
know John was out.
Okay,
And what Cody is so eloquently saying, Madam Mayor, is environmental folks are making this up as they go along. This is mandated, trickle down to us. We're doing the best we can with it.
gotcha.
We, just this week, last week, we met with Rick Barron with MDE, these are, engineers. And we are getting a quote for a satellite reading on Schaumburg tank. I know we've talked about doing this for a while, but, we're finally getting that rolling.
So this is a quote for the telemetry on 2, did we talk about 2 tanks?
We talked about 2, but I believe this year we're only gonna get to do 1, on Schaumburg tank, or as of right now. Maybe later in the year, we'll talk about doing another one, but as of right now, Schaumburg is the top priority for getting that done. The main point of that is, we have to fill that tank manually. We have to physically go out, manually turn the valve, fill the tank, go turn it off. So sometimes that tank overflows because of usage, people leaving. You know, we can set it to what we're, you know, accustomed to setting it, you know. But if 10 people leave, then that water's not being used out of the tank and it's gonna overflow, you know what I'm saying? So it's real important to get that on there because there's money going down the side of the road, you know, in the ditch, if that tank overflows.
I know as part of our water permit process, we have to sign in blood that we're trying to reduce water spillage and so forth. So that's
Yes.
all part of this.
Yes.
What is the other tank that needs telemetry?
Sky High tank, needs telemetry, also, Winding Ridge, right down the road here. They, none of that system has satellite reading.
And we're only doing 1 because why, Cody?
Mainly because parts, you know, we're just gonna go ahead and get one roll and see what the process is. And towards later on in the year, and because they cost $10,000. And this was not a budget item, correct?
Madam Mayor, when we did our planning retreat, back in February, this was discussed, and it does tie into, our initiative to reduce our water loss, permit. The price of this, yes, it was not funded, however, there is money available in our enterprise fund. And for our financial policy, it is within the spending authority, so, we're gonna go ahead and move forward with that, and what he's saying is that because of equipment, because of labor, because of schedule, et cetera, it's not, we're still post-COVID, things are not completely normal. Prioritization is Schaumburg, we're gonna do that. And then once we can kind of stay on Rick's schedule this fall, parts become available,
Okay,
we'll do Sky High and then we'll do Winding Ridge. And Winding Ridge is a separate system, by the way, as well.
Right,
So,
right.
So some of it is, and if we wind up doing it, doing Sky High and Schaumburg, Sky High and Winding Ridge for next year, then certainly that will be budgeted into the next year's
Okay.
budget.
Does this operate Cody off of Wi-Fi or how does it,
Cell service,
through cell service?
yeah,
Okay.
satellite.
All right, so who gets the notifications when something's not right on the tank?
Everybody in the crew,
Okay,
through our work cell phones, we get an alarm if the water is, below the threshold that we set for that tank.
okay, all right.
The last thing, I think we've talked about it enough, really, turn your water off, you know, if you're leaving town more than a couple days, turn your water off, because it don't take much to ruin your house, or, you know,
Or your
run that
house.
water bill up,
Yeah.
and nobody likes that.
Yeah.
That's all I've got.
Now turn it off the meter.
Turn it off at the homeowner.
Homeowner valve.
You know, there, you've got the black box, you know, for your meter, and then there's a green box right past it. That would be your homeowner valve. If, they sell the tool down there, they're like $20, I think. And some of the elderly people, you know, if you can't get to it, the city does it all the time. You know, call City Hall, we'll be glad to go out there and turn your water off, or turn it on.
Any questions or comments for Cody?
There's a fee for turning it on.
Yes, it's $30 during the normal hours of the day.
Work hours.
Go to, just before you leave, do you know where Ruffed Grouse is?
No, sir.
You know where Cobblewood is going down the mountain. The next gravel road to the right is Ruffed Grouse.
Yes.
Now Angela lives up there, but that stretch of maybe 300 yards, it's never been marked and it looks rough.
Mhm.
So if you guys can take a look
Okay.
at that road, and Cobblewood's getting a little bit washboard.
Is that
Yes,
an
sir.
official road, rough grass?
Isn't there a private property sign up?
Yeah.
No, that's further down. That's
That's
further
further
down. And it's not gravel, but it's always been rough grouse on maps that we've seen,
Right.
but I don't know if I've ever seen a sign there.
I don't believe there is. I don't believe there is a sign. But yes, we
And I don't know
actually
if
got it
people-
in the weekly planning to scrape dirt roads this week.
Okay, and I don't know if it was avoided because the assumption that it was somebody's private drive.
Yes,
And that is not the case.
yeah, for a lot of years, I was told that it was private.
Mhm.
Where does
And
it go?
Up to Angela's,
I mean, past that.
that's it.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
It kind of swerves off and dead ends, and Angela's driveway comes down that way, but it's got rounded shoulders, you can see some erosion.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Who would travel that road?
Angela.
Okay.
Well, and I don't know where she puts her garbage, but the city may go up there to get her
I don't
garbage.
believe they do. I believe she takes her own garbage.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, well, then.
Thanks.
Anybody in, the participants in the meeting need to make a comment or a question for Cody before we let him off the hot seat? Thank you, Cody.
Yes, ma'am.
Good job.
Good job. Mr. Piper, good morning.
Thank you. Well, some good news, and most of you know about, the pickleball courts are just about ready to play on. The third one, has been finished over the weekend. I was down at the park and I saw them painting on, Sunday. And I think Jason, after, Wednesday or Thursday, they should be open.
The contractor, he, sent me a message Sunday, said they were finishing up, they needed about 2 or 3 days. The plan is to unlock the doors tomorrow at noon, and, if you've been by there, at the request of a lot of our citizens, we've added what is called the kitchen. I don't play pickleball, but apparently the blue area is out of bounds or something, so.
No, you can't get in there.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can't get in there when you're playing. You have to stay outside that
Okay.
kitchen, but that was a great idea.
Yeah.
So,
Good job.
and one of the things we did do, Councilman, is, I'm pleased to say is that, we color matched. We went back and had the other 2 resurfaced. So it looks like they were all built at the same time.
All consistent.
And so, again, we got some landscaping planned accordingly. And we're very proud of that. And I even mentioned to the mayor that maybe very soon we might could even do some type of, word escapes me, where we ribbon cutting or something.
Dedication.
But the citizens should be proud of that. You just added 50% capacity to your pickleball, and it was done in time and under budget, so
That's
I'll just stop there.
after we paint the council faces in the kitchen, is that what we're
Yeah,
doing?
there you go. They are the kitchen.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jason.
It's a first-class facility for first class.
yeah, it looks good.
And we're gonna have to move our windscreen over now and probably add something to it, but that's a good problem to have.
Now, you talked about landscaping, and is there some sort of,
We need to do something,
Sidewalk to
the
the-
back walkway,
to the back wall, yeah.
where a lot of the players, where the bleachers are at, they walk along the back side.
to the rest?
Just a little wet there, we need to we're gonna put some pavers or something there, but, again, I'm very proud that, they did a great job, and, again, you got the kitchen now, so I'll just stop there. Time's ticking on.
In the month of March, we didn't receive any nuisance calls, so that was a good thing. Going back, I mentioned that the last time we met, the property owner that constructed a fence without a permit up on Spyglass at one of the condos. We were told a couple of weeks ago that, they were gonna remove that because I issued a citation. And unfortunately, this morning, the fence company called and said that they were only going to remove a portion of it, which is, they need to remove the entire thing because they did not have a permit, and it, a big majority of it encroaches on other property and it blocks the fire lane, and they can't cut grass back there, so.
So you're gonna.
Anyway, court date 2 weeks from today, so if it's not rectified before then they'll be in here hopefully. Otherwise,
You mean with the judge?
with the judge.
Okay.
As far as the latest update on this ongoing issue with a home that was condemned over on Rebel Circle, still talking to the president of the timeshare. They're looking at, I think that they finally got buy-in from all of the owners to go ahead. It looks like they're gonna try and just demolish the entire structure and sell the lot. So I know several realtors have reached out and spoken to them, trying to get the business for that. Good news, issued a certificate of occupancy with a new home that was being built on Alpine, right down the street from you. And kudos to the contractor. I mean, they built that house in 7.5 months, which is really, really good timing considering the weather and everything else. Construction's moving forward on the other 4 homes that are under construction right now. I just mentioned the one on Alpine. I actually issued that CO this week. Last week, I issued the one on Winding Ridge, so just in the last 7 days, I've issued 2 COs. But the other 4 that are under construction, Schonberg Lane, Bayberry, in fact, I did a rough-in inspection yesterday on the one on Bayberry, it's coming along very nicely. Alpine I just mentioned, and then Ridgepole, I was up yesterday and did an inspection up there, they should probably be finished in the next month or 2. And, let's see,
Is that the Jacobsons?
yes. Yeah, he's kind of taken over as his own contractor, and he's subbing everything else out, he's switched the license over here with City Hall.
What was the 4th house? Did I miss that one?
Schonberg, Bayberry, Ridgepole, it was Alpine, but like I said, it just issued the CO. But, yeah, I've got that next down here, it's, at the end of, Knob Drive, right up against the National Forest, the owner should be coming in probably today to submit an application for a new home there. And then, as Jason just mentioned, we just issued a permit for construction over on Evergreen. I'm sure everybody that goes the back way in and out of the city has seen the construction or the clearing over there. And I did, it may be premature, but I talked to the owner of several lots on the Bell Circle. And he said he's really hoping in the next couple of months to start construction on on a home on LaBelle, so, but again, that's probably getting ahead of myself.
Where on Evergreen?
Lot 285.
I know where that
Right
is.
next to the lot.
Right next to the lot.
You not know where that is?
You know where the lot is? Well, there's lot 285.
That's Ken's neighbor.
Sorry, Kim. Sorry, Kim.
Yeah, right.
It's right at the end of the valley, so we'd be able to look right up the valley. In March, there were 14 building permits issued. There were 7 tree cutting and trimming permits issued. So a total of 22 permits were issued in March of 2024 versus 17 in March of 2023. And let's see, did I have anything else? That was it. Any questions?
Jim, I have a question just from earlier. 77 of the third-party rentals are in compliance. How many total third-party rentals are there, and how many are out of compliance?
There's over 100. And we're every day, Granicus, the company we're using, they're finalizing their part. We had some kinks we had to work out with them, like most things, but, we're aggressively going after people. We do have some non-compliant. Anybody listening to this, watching this letter, please come into the city, get compliant. The thing about Granicus is, if you're advertising on Airbnb, Vrbo, those sites, we know who you are. That's the nicest way I can say it. We want people to come in cheerfully and do what's right. But, tickets are being written, so we've had conversations with the judge. He knows to pack a snack when he comes into the month.
Bruce, to your point, the good news is I issued 22 citations last month for non-compliance on the VRBOs, or short-term rentals, excuse me. And out of all of those, we only have, as of last week, 4 that have not come in and obtained their licenses. And we're hopeful that the rest of them before, like I said, court dates 2 weeks from today, they'll come in and pay and get the license as well. So, but Granicus has been really good. Monica has been working diligently with them, and so again, we're hoping to have.
Was there a fine with the citation?
The per judge Sneed, Madam Mayor, $100. If they come in before the court date and pay the $300 fee, and they would pay a reduced fine of $100, they would not have to come see him. If they don't come in, they're gonna be at his mercy. And they'll have to explain why they haven't been compliant. And I don't wanna speak on his behalf, but it could be significantly more than $100.
Okay.
So again, it's in your best interest to please come to this down.
I just want that information put out. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Anybody else? Thank you, Ms. Clyburn. Chief, I believe it is your time to shine.
Oh. Well, good morning. Well, this you've heard, if you've been coming to our other meetings, so it's a little bit repetitive. I'm just gonna update some of the major things going on right now in town. We continue to have, the most common issue we have, people coming in my office a couple of times a week, is aggressive driving on 246. There's only so much that we can do when it comes to the aggressive driving, meaning mostly we have to witness it and see it. But I want to remind everyone that hands-free means don't have your phone in your hand driving on these curvy roads, because other people will come in and tell me you did that. And but a lot of times we can't really enforce it because we're not witnessing and seeing it, but we are out here looking at as much as possible. But a little bit more important, I think, than that is right here, we constantly have a problem with people refusing to stop for the school bus. We put 2 of us out here every day for the school bus, and several times a week we get people just ignoring the bus, us, the signs, the flashing lights, and they just fly through here. So we are aggressively enforcing that because there's a serious problem we're having. So when you see us setting up out here, that's exactly what we're doing. We're getting ready for our school bus. We have 3 stops in town. This one, the one in front of Poss Realty, and one at Raven Branch Road. Then the bus goes out into the county. But, we monitor our 3 stops. No one seems to be monitoring the ones out in the county because there's a lot less traffic than right here. One of the things that Judge Sneed hears all the time in court is people arguing with him, despite all of the signs on this state route about the speed limit. They swear it's 50 and 55 out here. And that's why when we write tickets at 60, they're arguing and they come in here. So one thing we may want to consider is another traffic calming sign like that one right there that flashes the sign. We may want to consider getting another one and putting on the lower end. Because people are swearing that it's 55, and you can go all the way to the Chevron and it's never 55. So, but anyway, that's just something we want.
Well, and how did we get this sign? Did we city purchase it or?
Yes, ma'am. The city bought this sign. Originally, that sign, you may remember, was down on the lower end because weirdly as it is, more people speed coming up the mountain. They ride their brakes going down, but they ride the accelerator coming up. We had that sign down on the lower end. And we was trying to bounce it back and forth, but the sign just will not hold up if we keep uninstalling it and reinstalling it. So, and the batteries were dying. So this one now is solar and it's permanent. We may want to consider getting another one on the lower end, but they're not cheap.
Do we have an
Yes, sir.
idea of the cost?
Well,
Go ahead. Do you have an idea of the cost?
Well, it depends on the type of sign you want. You can get a little bitty small sign for around $2,000. And, but you can actually upgrade them to be type, you can put messages on there like ice on road or stuff like that, message signs. You can even get signs like this one here, which is kind of a bare minimum one. You can get them where you can actually put, like they have in other places, they put the radar in the sign and they just mail you tickets. As you go by the signs lights up, they flash and everything, and if you don't slow down, they clock you.
I thought that had to be in a church or a school zone to do that.
Now, you can get permits for them, but you have to get permitted for each sign. Now, the school zone signs is a different animal. We don't have a school zone because we don't have a school. But yeah, you can do that in troubled areas, and we would definitely be able to say this is a troubled area. But to be honest, to upgrade to one of those type of signs, kind of cost prohibitive where we're at.
As in how much?
Well, to get like a good sign with the radar, with the camera and everything, you're looking probably 5,000 to 8,000. And that's not including the solar and everything to power the sign. That would be operating it with a battery that you have to charge every day. So, but I think maybe just another sign similar to this one to make people aware. That's why we call them traffic calming signs, is it makes people aware. And one of the biggest questions we get is not even our problem, it's the signs right there going that way. What's the speed limit? There's 2 signs side by side, 45, 55, and people come back, what's the speed limit? I said, did you read the sign? They said, yeah, 45, 55. I said, what's the big one in the middle? It says, speed limit is this unless otherwise posted. So there's your there's your sign, but they're reducing it by posting the other sign. But that's a North Carolina issue, not ours.
Doug, I talked to the mayor of Tallulah. They have a speed camera that they are doing quite well with financially.
Yes.
And he informed me that the state says we can't have one of those unless it's a school zone or a church zone. So what's the do you know what the difference is here of what he's talking about?
Yeah, the one in Tallulah is a school zone.
Right, I know that, yeah.
There is a different statute that you can have a speed zone. I haven't looked at it, I'll look at it.
Would you look at that? And maybe we need to start looking for some possible grant funds, because I think that would be a good idea to have something like that.
And knowing what Tallulah's earning off their side.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it pays for itself.
I think it did.
Quickly.
Yeah,
Well,
12 times
you
over.
remember a few years ago, all the red light cameras popped up everywhere?
Yeah.
And Doug probably had to deal with this as well. A lot of them popped up everywhere, and they were sending everyone and their brother a ticket. Well, then you notice they started disappearing. That's because even the legislature can't decide on where you can and cannot put the cameras, like in quote, troubled areas where you have to show a propensity of this issue. That's why school cameras have a completely different section in the law. That's the one thing they could agree on. School zones, we need that. But up here, I think just a traffic calming sign would serve us greatly. Because that is, I mean, we don't even have to do that if we wouldn't choose to, but that's just what we hear in court all the time.
Chief, are you saying that the children catch a bus right in here?
Yes.
Does that kind of get us into that?
Trouble zone?
We're not
That's,
in school zone. School buses, school bus stops, technically can be every driveway.
True.
So a school zone is a completely different
All
animal.
right, so Doug, you'll look into that and the feasibility of that. That would be great. All right.
Yeah. Sorry, this. On a good note, we recently had multiple people, some people have called and asked, who are these weird people driving around videoing my house and stuff? That was Google Earth and a couple other Magellan driving around, and they actually mapped our city recently, so we should be getting updated GPS maps, so that now people will be able to find us. I have even saw them down on Evergreen and Ponderosa, so they're mapping the areas, and we've had to deal with them a little bit because we didn't have all of our street signs up. And some of the street signs are missing, some of them are wrong, and they were stopping and asking because they were confused, but we've assured them that they're coming in and we're updating everything, and you just caught us in the middle of the update. But yes, they are mapping our streets, but there is still an issue on some of the older databases. This kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier. Some of the GPS, depending on what your maps are on your device, our roads have old names from before we were even the city. Sky Valley Way is still Elite Drive on some things.
Yeah.
And a lot of our roads that were originally built and the road beds are still there, Jim knows what I'm talking about, they're just now hiking trails, but they were, some of the maps, they show them as roads. And people ask us where this road is, I've never heard of it. We have that, but hopefully that will be going away as these new GPS maps come online, so that's good for us. We've not had any reports of hog activity of any significance at all, even though this is the time of the year they get really active with this warm weather. Bears, we've not had any calls other than bears in garbage cans. So as we've talked about a lot, make sure you don't put your trash out too early. The bears will get in it and drag it and spread it everywhere. Snakes, in the past 2 weeks, because we've had a couple of warm days here and there, people are finding snakes laying out on rocks and things of that nature. Their porch is made out of stone and it gets warm, they're coming out. So just be aware that right now things are waking up, because we are seeing some activity in that, as well as hornets, yellow jackets, and I think they were called red wasps are starting to appear everywhere. We had an issue at a condo that had not rented in a while, where people didn't know what it was. It was hornets were starting to build their little nest. I guess the warm weather is starting to make them active. Call us, call City Hall and schedule. Make sure to get your golf carts inspected as you come into town. We've been doing that over the past several weeks. Make sure you schedule it. If you got a trailer and you want to bring it to our office, that's fine. If not, call us. We will come to your location and get your inspection, because the permitting process, if you've been following it, has changed. And we can get you all the list of equipment and everything you need to be compliant. Now, one question we're getting is about side-by-sides, because their side-by-sides can now be licensed, to drive on county roads and things of that nature, but they still have their own requirements to be on the county roads, which is fine if you're out in the county, but when you're in our city, you go by our city ordinances and things of that nature. So just give us a call. We'll get you the list of what you need, and we'll make sure that you got the right stuff. Because some people have been showing up with stuff that wasn't quite compliant, like triangles for their vehicle, and they're like this big, and someone told them that's all they needed, because that's what they needed in Florida for their community. So just give us a call, we'll get you the information, and I believe it's
I
available
don't
on
know
our
what a
website
side
as
by
well.
side is. What is a side by side?
Like the Kubotas, or the
Oh.
Gators,
Okay.
or the Rhinos, things of that nature. And we can't emphasize this enough right now. If you're not here, either put you some cameras on your property or put your house on the house checklist. Because the last thing you want when you return is to find someone living in your house. So we don't have that issue at the moment, but just watch the news. It's everywhere, so it will eventually wind up here to a degree. And we have had that in the past. And it's hard now. We used to could just show up and criminal trespass them, throw them off your property, but nowadays it goes into a whole nother matter, and we have to go through an eviction process. And but the only issues we've had here in the past only one has two has risen to the level of having to go through eviction process through the courts. But monitor your property, especially if it's empty for a long period of time, let us know, we'll keep an eye on it for you. But a lot of people are choosing to put Ring cameras and things of that nature up that way. They're calling, hey, someone's at our house, will you go check them out and see who they are before they can get in and set up residency there in your home. So please work with us on that, because we want to it keeps us all safe. I guess that covers about everything that I had at the moment.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments from the chief?
Good job.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes, yes, sir.
I forgot to mention, as of yesterday, bird feeders, take them down,
Bird feeders, yes.
April 15th.
Yeah.
I'll put it on a reminder.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Okay, now committee reports, we have the wonderful Cheryl Beckert here, who is going to report on the landscaping committee. Ms. Beckert, if you will come do your thing.
Yes, good morning, Cheryl Beckert, 222 Red Wolf Trail, and I'm the chairperson of the Landscape Advisory Committee. The hard-working members of the committee are Debbie Dalhouse Curtis, Debbie McAfee, Don Rice, Kathy Turner, and Becky Whitehead. The committee's met twice, March 7th and April 4th, and our next meeting will be on May 16th. First, the committee would like to thank Jerry Shope and Cody and their crew for their assistance on several of our projects. We also appreciate the help of Sharon Beck Camp, who's provided us with great meeting places and keeping our meetings organized. Our 2024 projects, the corner of Rescue Lane and Evergreen. Beautification of the corner began with Jim and Debbie Curtis cleaning the rock and removing debris from it. The city delivered a load of leaf mulch, which Don Rice tilled into the soil, making a bed surrounding the rock. The Sky Valley Garden Club donated a Kwanzaa cherry tree, and Don Rice is donating bedding plants and shrubs, which he will plant along with the cherry tree. Next project is the pavilion and pickleball courts. And we will be adding ornamental grasses to the front corners of the pavilion and another planting at the front left corner of the pickleball courts. And I know the city manager just mentioned you had some landscaping ideas, and I'll get with you on that so that we can coordinate it. Don Rice is donating the plants for that area. The area between the pavilion and post office boxes has 3 mountain laurel bushes that are in very poor shape, and we've asked Mark Wanamaker to remove them. We have also asked Mark to divide some of the daylilies by the post office and plant them on the hill to help with the erosion there at the post office. The pond area across from the timeshare maintenance building, the city crew under Jerry Shope's direction has removed several of the large overgrown weeds. That's looking much better, and I saw them today. They're spraying for weed control. Street corners, additional plantings on the corner of Ridgepole and Sky Valley Way, Driver Lane and Eagle Circle, will be done by the Sky Valley Garden Club. Kathy and Bruce Turner are donating plants to be used at the Ridgepole corner. The Garden Club will also replace the dead Kwanzaa cherry tree on Sky Valley Way with a new cherry tree. And we'll have Mark remove the other ones that didn't make it last year. The front entrance in City Hall Colorful annuals will be added again this year, and Mark Wanamaker and his crew will be planting those in May. They will also add additional pollinator perennials at the lower entrance bed. A Kwanzaa cherry tree was donated by the Garden Club to be planted by the picnic area here at City Hall. And the Garden Club will also pay for the plantings around the 3 flagpoles when the bed is installed here at City Hall. That concludes my report.
Fantastic.
Yes,
Cheryl, are y'all gonna do the pots at the front entrance again?
Garden Club will do those, yes.
Very nice.
Yeah,
You're gonna water them?
you're gonna water them.
We have water now.
I know, we just like to give them a hard time about it. That is fabulous. Thank you for all your hard work and your committee too.
Okay.
Thank you. See, thank you, Cheryl. Gordon is not here, so I guess we will move on to marketing committee, and Bruce, if you'll just do a quick special projects committee.
As Jason mentioned earlier, we kicked off the planning for the Independence Day celebration, and we touched a little bit on the Fall Fest. But we're moving forward with that. I'll set up another meeting for the Independence Day, and so we can keep that moving forward. The only other thing I was gonna mention is I'd like to start another city cleanup from the front entrance to the junction, the water wheel. And I was made aware that that stretch there is both North Carolina and South Carolina, or North Carolina and Georgia. But with the onset of the Evergreen Road, we're getting a lot of traffic up there, a lot of contractors, and we're seeing a lot of garbage on Evergreen. Now, I know, I think Jim and Debbie have done a nice job at keeping after that. But once they come up in Evergreen and come around in, they come into Sky Valley in different areas, and I'm starting to see garbage in those areas. And there's essentially, on our front yards. It's not like it's across the road. And Chief, is there anything we can do to get in front of that? Because I think a few stiff fines on littering, the word's gonna get out, and they're gonna say, Evergreen, they're watching us on Evergreen. I don't know if it's possible, but just a thought.
Yeah, on littering, once again, we need to observe them doing that. If we observe them doing that, we can issue them the citation for that. Problem with down in Evergreen area is it's so windy and curvy, there is always, they go around the curve and they throw it out the window, because that's usually where it gathers. And I know that people who go down and pick it up notice that as well. But there is a lot of trash, and I believe it's blowing out the backs of their trucks and they're throwing it out the window. But we can be down there more and try to observe it, but when we park, it's kind of hard to park on the side of that road anywhere and watch.
Well, let me ask you, I
Maybe a
know,
sign.
will we have streetlights there eventually?
We've talked about it, but we haven't made a decision. We have a quote from Georgia Power,
Expensive.
and it was extremely expensive. We also talked to them. At one point, Georgia Power would also attach a camera to the light poles, but I don't know that they're doing anymore, so we're still talking about it. There's a lot of people who are against it, and some are for it, so.
I understand that.
Yeah, but it was very expensive. But we're still talking about it.
Madam Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. And again, thank you to everybody on citizen committees. We couldn't do our work without y'all. All right, let's move on to item number 9 on our agenda, which is to approve the amendment of the Sky Valley solid waste trash ordinance. We met last month at a workshop and a regular council meeting and did the first official reading of this particular ordinance as we like to edit it. Jason, if you'll just present a real quick summary of what changes are, and then we will go to the second reading.
Madam Mayor, the biggest thing is, as you all know, we did away with the in-ground cans. That was a project that we finished up. And so that option had to be removed from the ordinance. We better clarified dates of pickup. We better clarified how you call and create a work order if you have yard debris, things like that, that you can be picked up. So really, it's more just kind of cleaning up some things, removing the things to ultimately in an effort to maintain risk management compliance. So that was the biggest thing, but that's been removed. And it's better defining some things and, it's been reviewed. I think, Doug, I put you on the spot and you looked over, I think it's fine. So with that being said, I will read, the intent.
You'll do the official
And
second
this, yeah,
reading.
this will be the second reading and adoption by the county, the city, excuse me. We're talking about counties earlier. Put my Dollar Tree glasses on here. An ordinance to amend previous solid waste ordinances to define terms and phrases related to the collection and disposal of trash, waste, recycling and garbage, to regulate receptacles and containers for the same, to provide for the manner of preparation of the same for collection, to provide for the manner of collection of construction material, trash and garbage from commercial establishments and places of residence, to prohibit the deposit of trash, debris, or litter upon vacant lots, to prohibit burying refuse, polluting waters, or spilling trash, garbage, and other debris upon city streets, to provide for kinds of collections and services to be offered, the days of collection and a schedule of charges therefore, to provide penalties for violation, and to repeal all ordinances or portions thereof in conflict herewith.
This is kind of off thank you for the second reading. This is kind of off the subject a little bit, but have we done anything with the rolling trash cans we were gonna buy, for the people to buy?
We've had a little bit of interest in that. I'm trying to find that sweet spot with the company. At one time, we talked about ordering just a few. You do get a price point, but the shipping really gets to be, you have to take that into equation as far as, it can almost be with the shipping can be more than the cans themselves. So we're working through that. I know there was some questions about that at one time, and we just wanted to continue to say if people would be interested in buying a can, we'd like to try to see if we can get enough interest. You gotta have a can anyway. If we have enough interest, we could buy these cans. We would sell these cans basically at cost. They could be embossed with the city logo, and would probably be a better can than what you would get at Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace for probably about 60% of the cost. But we have that ordered. Last time I talked with the contractor, and I reached out to a couple of other vendors. Schaefer is by far the cheapest. You've got Granger and Uline. But it would be about probably a 30-day from the time we order. But,
So how are we getting the word out to the people if they're interested to let you know? Did we send out something like
We have
that?
not, I just made a note that.
Okay.
and it's just, it kind of went to the wayside with everything
I
that's
got
going
you.
on.
You've been busy.
But, I mean, again, we did have a gentleman come in, a week or so ago that was inquiring, so, but again,
What were the two
I
different
think
sizes?
we just let them know,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
you're gonna get interest.
So 65 is the maximum size,
Gallon?
65 gallon,
Uh-huh.
and, I don't wanna roll them in here,
No, I saw that.
but they're out there.
Yeah,
And then, the other option would be if maybe somebody doesn't have a lot of trash, or maybe cannot physically,
right,
roll out, you can do a 35 gallon option.
35 gallon,
And
okay.
the 65 gallon is the most common. You're gonna get more can for the dollar. And, yeah, we
Okay.
will certainly, get that information out.
So that's in the works right now.
And we don't have a price at this point because we don't know which company.
Well, Schaefer, again, once we get an idea of what the minimum, again, I'm working with Mr. Ledbetter, who's our sales rep. There's two different things, again, not repeat myself, you've got the number of cans ordered to get the price break, and you've gotta take into account the low number for the shipping.
Right.
We run into that with a lot of things, particularly on the public works side, but you have to kind of take into consideration, but once we get enough interest,
You'll do that.
we'll get it going, get it done.
I've got a quick question. We have two of them, 255s. Would the city just go ahead and emboss one of them? Or do you want some kind of uniformity of all the cans?
Well, so that's an option with that, but the company that sell, we basically would pay a one-time fee. We're basically
For the
like a
embossing?
stamp, and then they would literally burn it or
That's not done
whatever.
here.
We won't do that here, but that's something that's done by the company itself.
Yeah, I think when you're sending out the notice, you need to stress that not only is it good for the resident, not having to cart a bag or a can or whatever, but it's good for Public Works because the truck will pick the can up.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a big benefit to the Public Works people.
And
The more
one,
people get, the more residents get those things.
and one final thing I want to say, I know the meeting's getting long. We better define what is premium service versus regular service. I know we had some questions about certain citizens that, maybe for whatever reason, physical or the property, they cannot bring it to the road. It's an extra $7 a month. I think it's $30 a month versus 23. But you just call City Hall, sign up for the premium service. That is an option. Again, we just better define that with this update as well.
Well, they pick up the can at their door and bring it and empty it.
Well,
and
they
take it.
would probably just grab the bags out of the can and
Okay.
take the bags
They'll
down.
take the garbage, okay.
I mean, it'd be case by case, but again, that is a service that we offer.
All right.
If somebody wants to, it is a little more expensive than that. So-
Good questions, good suggestions of council. Any from the meeting participants?
I've got a couple of reservations that I'd like to share. I mean, this is a good ordinance. I'm gonna vote for it. You know, progress is incremental and you can't let the excellent be the enemy of the good. But I don't think it's gonna be the last word. And, you know, the big problem with the in-ground cans has always been that people put stuff in them. The bears come, the raccoons come, drag it around, and it hadn't worked for 40 years, so we're rid of those. Good riddance for a lot of reasons. It turns out that we've got a bunch of homes in Sky Valley where you don't have any place to put your big garbage can. I mean, the house is connected to the road by a bridge. You know, you can't put it under the house, you don't have a garage. So for those folks, we've got the option of the black bags, the 95 mil bags. Well, unfortunately, we know that those have exactly the same problem as the in-ground cans, plus the birds pack them. The bears can drag them up the hill into the woods and nobody ever picks it up again. So we know we're a unique place. We've got some unique problems. We haven't solved that particular problem yet. Perhaps the solution is indeed to go to the premium pickup. The bears don't like to be too close to the house. Well, we all know there's exceptions to that too. So I don't know what the solution is, but the issue is, how do you keep garbage from getting strewn all over the place? I mean, I think the mayor and I both drove by, what's the number? Is it 899 Ridgepole? It's down there on Ridgepole. It's always got
Every Monday.
on can, flipped on its side, there's trash out. I mean, it's an enforcement thing, perhaps, I don't know.
I think it just ultimately goes back to self-responsibility of the homeowner. We do have requirements, you can't be out before 6, it needs to be out at 8.
Right.
And that's done for efficiency, number one, obviously the less time the trash is out there, the there's less opportunity for varmints and critters to get into it, but, you know, we have the compactor. And that's always an option, people that can do that, if they wanna bring it there. Most of the time, the trash runs are fairly consistent. If you live at your house and they're there at between 7 and 7:15 every day, maybe if you're there, maybe instead of putting it out at 6, put it out at 6:55 or something. Maybe you may have to monitor, but I think it's never gonna be perfect. I think self-accountability, self-responsibility comes into play with that, and again, the premium service is also an option, and, the heavy bag was kind of an option that was there too, because again, not everybody has the ability to have a can. I know, Jim, I put you on the spot, I know your house is not really set up for a can, and so, heavy bags, but again, it's, just do what you can to minimize the time that it's out there, buy good bags. Feel free to reach out to City Hall about maybe going with the premium service, and again, also the compactor, so we're doing it.
Okay,
No ordinance
I'm just saying that.
is gonna change the configuration of your house as to whether or not you can have a can or not.
But the problem is that we've got critters.
I don't,
Critters.
I'm not saying that we
And can
don't.
tweak
I'm
that.
just saying that there's nothing we can do here that's gonna change that.
Okay, well, then we haven't solved that problem. Okay, another problem is that, we require the cans to be removed the day that the garbage is picked up. What we don't require is to have those cans stored out of sight. I know some of the suburban garbage ordinances require it to be out of sight. And so that's a tweak I think that we can make. New point. I have not heard a peep from our citizens about garbage. And, my experience in 2 other municipalities where the citizens tend to be participatory when it comes to service delivery. Garbage has been a hot button issue. I haven't heard anything about it. And we haven't had a public hearing, and of course, it's been winter. Who's gonna come to a public hearing in winter? So, we'll have to play that by ear, and Sharon will get a chance to once more display her skills and.
And the thing is,
educational.
there may come a time we have to tweak this in the future, I mean, it's.
Yeah, and that's basically what I'm saying.
There's no secret
Yeah.
that there's potential development coming down the pipeline in the next few months to few years that we may have to look at the way we do things then, so, but again, just trying to.
I don't think there's 100% solution.
Yeah.
We gotta do the best we can, and some people, it's not gonna be fair, but, do the best we can as a city.
We did have a workshop last week, and if you couldn't be here, we offered Zoom, so if anybody really had a burning desire to discuss it,
Yeah.
we did give them an opportunity.
I'm betting when people get back, they're gonna be surprised to find their trash, their in-ground cans are gone.
They are, we get those calls.
They
every
are,
day.
they are,
But-
yeah.
And
Yes, sir.
finally, one last point that we should be aware of. Our ordinances get codified, I think, once a year? And what this means is that, that repeals any other ordinances that are in conflict with the new ordinance. That's why sometimes things just seem to disappear. I think we look for provisions we've seen in the past and can't find them anywhere. Or provisions,
Or they're opposing to
state law. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so we've got another garbage ordinance that we call our bear ordinance. And it goes into some detail about what happens if there is bear activity at your garbage for whatever reasons. And, we talk about bear-proof containers and some other obligations that we incur if we have a bear experience. And so we need to make sure that when the codification does occur, that we don't lose some of those important provisions that,
Is it in conflict with our current one where?
well, that's a good question. I don't think so,
Okay,
but this is the superseding ordinance, so that's why
I got
I'm
Everything
anxious to
now
look at the
goes to
codification when it comes
Nico.
out.
But
yes, sir.
just to Jen's point, this ordinance doesn't supersede the bear ordinance. The bear ordinance is still on the books. And so long as there's no conflict, both statutes
Okay,
can be ready to go.
will parts of the bear ordinance be moved into this ordinance
You don't have to,
because they deal with, the garbage issue?
no, I mean, you don't have to have one garbage ordinance. I mean, you can have your primary solid waste ordinance, but if there are other ordinances that relate to it, they don't all have to be underneath one ordinance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, it is one code, and so you go through the entire.
Unless
code.
there's a conflict, then that's what we've got to look at.
I don't think there's any. I wrote the bear ordinance years ago.
Okay, well, I hope there's not.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, with that, I will need a motion to approve the amended Sky Valley Solid Waste Ordinance.
I move we approve said ordinance.
Thank you, Jim. Second,
Second.
Old Man Turner. All right, discussion. All right, all in favor of approving this amended ordinance signify with aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify with nay. The amended solid waste ordinance is adopted. All right, let's go to our next, this should be quicker. This is the approve the amendment to the Uniform Rules of Road Ordinance, which has to do with certification of golf carts, and I know there's another term for it, but that's basically what it is. Do you need to summarize it quickly, Jason?
Really one change, Madam Mayor, there, again, this is more towards safety, the chief can chime in if he wants to, but, it's an annual certification process. In the existing ordinance, it listed 5 years, and this just changes it to an annual. Again, this is about public safety,
Right.
and it also aligns with the schedule.
All right, and Jason, if now you will do the official second reading of this, to be approved amendment.
City of Sky Valley Universal Rules of the Road Ordinance. An ordinance to amend previous uniform rules of the road ordinances to define terms and phrases relating to the uniform rules of the road, traffic signs, signals and markings, speed limits, parking of motor homes, recreational vehicles, boats and trailers, the permitting of personal transportation vehicles, and to provide penalties for violation, and to repeal all ordinances or portions thereof in conflict herewith.
Okay, I will now need a motion to approve the amended uniform rules of the road ordinance.
So moved.
Thank you, Dan. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of approving this amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, the amended uniform rules of the road ordinance is adopted. All right, number 11, consider the proclamation to celebrate and recognize Arbor Day. Jason, will you just kind of talk about what we do, summarize what we do for Arbor Day?
Madam Mayor, the tree city, which you probably see the signs coming in back, I think 8 years now, Jim? Okay. One of the requirements is beyond preserving, trying to, maintain that status is we recognize Arbor Day. That's always in April of every year. I believe it's the 26th of this year.
It is.
Last year, we planted a tree out here on the side, and, Sharon, I think, I know time's kind of lingering on, but if you want to talk very quickly about what you did with the saplings, but,
We ordered 100 red maples and we asked citizens to come in and pick those up for their own planting. As of now, we probably have about 15 left. So if people want to come in, they
It's been
should.
very, very popular, so we do have a few left, but anyway, this is something we do every year. It's a good thing and.
Of course, we'll all be in the home before they get bigger, but we'll plant them. I appreciate, I thought that was a great idea. If that was yours, Sharon, it was a great idea.
Will be planted,
Huh?
will be planted.
We'll be planted, that's right. We will be planted, I got it, thanks.
This
Okay,
can be signed, maybe, Madam
Okay.
Mayor, if you, I can read it aloud.
well, yeah, if you just give us a quick read.
It is basically, whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for planting trees, and whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil, by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our communities. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, I, Holly Style, Mayor of the City of Sky Valley, Georgia, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 26, 2024 is Arbor Day in the city of Sky Valley, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart, gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations, dated the 16th day of April 2024.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Jason. I'll need a motion from the council to approve this proclamation.
Moved.
Thank you, Bruce. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Dan. Discussion? Okay, all in favor to approve this proclamation signify with aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, proclamation to celebrate and recognize Arbor Day 2024 is adopted. All right, 12, consider approval of proclamation of the 55th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 5th through 11th, 2024. I'm gonna tell y'all, we have some wonderful, hardworking city clerks here in Sky Valley. They work in conjunction seamlessly with our communications specialists. Those 3 women work also with all our departments in the city, work with our citizens, our visitors, and we couldn't do it without y'all. I appreciate everything you do. Sharon, do you need to say anything about this proclamation? Karen, do you need to say anything about the proclamation?
No.
You're just so happy to be here as the city clerk?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
We do have, our city clerk Karen, our deputy clerk Monica, she's off today. Of course, I know Sharon, technically not a clerk, but does a great job for us. And I just want to plug real quick, we're doing a community appreciation day.
We'll still talk about
And
that.
she has done a phenomenal job getting some door prizes. I'm just gonna stop there.
Yeah.
So you need to be here.
And the council will all be here to greet all our people too, and the chief of police will be here in case we have anybody within those couple hours that wants to talk with us or meet with us. I think it would be great, so put that on your calendar. The 24th, it's from 11 to 2, is that correct? All
I
right,
know we're getting on
and she's got
top of
some
it.
fabulous prizes, I mean,
The fire chief will be here also.
oh yes, and I forgot about you, sorry, Ken.
I know we're getting on top of it. Clerk, but
And I forgot
I wanted to
you.
plug that.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to thank Ken. I got a wonderful copy of an email from a lady that you helped with her car troubles, and she just went on with you, and she wanted us to make you Saint Ken of Sky Valley. So moved. Thank you, Ken.
Cool.
Madam Mayor, may I make a motion that we approve the proclamation of
Amen.
the Municipal Clerks Meet? We-
Thank you, Jim. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Dan. I don't think we need to discuss it, because I know we all appreciate what you all do for us, y'all. All in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
All right, we're not even gonna do the nay. Proclamation is approved, and it's the week of May 5th through 11th. Do they get that whole time off, Jason? I'm trying.
We'll certainly, I think we try to plan something.
Yeah, I think
special.
we'll have a gala event, I'm sure. All right, next item, consider adoption of the restated GM EBS member retirement plan for IRS requirements. I know that the council read all 56 pages of that document and have it memorized. Do you want to summarize what this is?
Just in a nutshell, this is housekeeping stuff here. It has to be renewed every so often. It needs to be renewed this year. Retirement through the Georgia Municipal Association. Thus pre-prepared, a package. In fact, it even says in the letter that if we modified it, voids it out, but, it allows us to keep the, tax exempt status to the IRS. So it is, the retirement is certainly an important benefit. And this is just more, just approving for compliance purposes.
continue.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions or comments from the council on this particular item? Okay, I will need a motion to adopt the retirement plan.
I move we adopt the retirement plan.
Thank you, Dan.
I think
Second.
that's something we need to do, so.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a dual second. Thank you, gentlemen. All in favor of this motion signify by aye.
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 All right, so the member retirement plan, IRS requirements is therefore adopted. All right, next one. This is another housekeeping thing, the 2024 marketing agreement with Forward Raven. As you know, we partner with Forward Raven to satisfy the marketing efforts established by the state of Georgia when we collect our 8% hotel motel tax. And I think they do a fabulous job. They work with us a lot, they help us a lot. Jason, do we need to review this marketing agreement?
The biggest change, Madam Mayor, is, Sky Valley as well as the county and all the cities within last year went from 5% to 8%. That did change the percentages a little bit, in the past. When we were 5%, Forward Raven got 2/5 of the pie. Now that it's 8%, now that it is 8%, they get 3.5% or 3.5 of the 8.
Approximately how much hotel motel tax did we collect last year?
I think we put right at 60,000 into the general fund, and then 40,000 went to Forward Raven, being 2/5, 3/5. We're too early this year to tell,
Right.
but we are seeing more. And then, we are required to have a designated economic development entity. And Forward Raven is the entity that the city has used in the past. And so.
Also, the change, I believe, is since we went to 8%, we can actually spend a portion of that proceeds towards what they call brick and mortar stuff, which we could not do.
That is correct.
Okay.
The remaining, 6.5%, it's like, I don't know how to break down, but yeah, I think 18, if you take like per 100%, like 18% of that goes towards brick and mortar. They get like 43.5%, and we get the balance of that. But
Okay.
some of that goes to brick, and some of that is what we call unrestricted, that goes into the general fund.
Right.
But yeah, that does go towards things like pickleball courts
Right.
and parks and things like that. So yeah, so,
Trail stuff.
yes,
Okay, I will need a motion to approve the marketing agreement with Forward Raven.
So moved.
Thank you, Jim. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Dan. All in favor of approving this agreement signify with aye.
Aye.
All right, that was unanimous. The marketing agreement with Forward Raven is approved as presented. All right, public forum. Now that y'all have to wake up out there. Anybody need to speak to this? Oh, Lord, we got somebody to speak. Okay, you know the drill, Ms. McAfee.
Deborah McAfee, 776 South Green. right? Yeah.
Maybe.
I'd just like to comment, and first of all, thank our fire chief and his team for getting our ISO rating to go down. Now, that means that the insurance service offices, and this is really important, because on your homeowner's renewal, you need to check and see if your company has added this, new change. And your basis of rating for your homeowners are usually construction and the ISO rating, so that was huge. And thank you. The other comment I'd like to make, with regard to the trash cans, the ones that the truck will pick up, that will also impact probably your work comp experience. And that's basically because it's gonna reduce back injuries over a period of time. And so, I mean, I totally support that idea.
I want y'all to guess what Debbie did for a living before she retired. Thank you, Debbie. Anybody else? Okay. It is now time for our 15th agenda item, adjournment. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
Madam Mayor, with there being no further business before this council, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? Yahoo.
Amen.
Thank you all for coming today and sitting through all of this. We appreciate this. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everyone.